Hello, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. This is Pranil here, also known as Lateriser 12, and welcome to my Gameweek 16 team selection video. Yes, interesting choice of thumbnail. I've got Alexander Isak. Now, you must be wondering if I'm selling a certain Erling Haaland. We'll discuss that later. But it's been a busy week. Haven't caught up with FPL until yesterday, in fact, and the boys did a tremendous job on the pod on Tuesday. I saw the pod yesterday once I came back, and I saw both the team selection videos. Both have done an excellent job. If you are somebody who's new and are watching content this week for the first time, then I highly recommend you check out the podcast. And then FPL have announced what the mystery chip is, which is the assistant manager chip. And our boy Pras has done an excellent job of breaking that down, letting you know what the chip is about, what the potential use points are, and how we should be thinking about it, and how we should let the thoughts about the chip simmer in our head, because we can't use it until game week 24, which is the primary most important thing at the moment. So let those thoughts simmer, etc. Don't need to panic. Well, people will come up with ideas. You can twist those ideas, let those ideas percolate in your brain, and then interesting parts will emerge for the end of the season. Now, I wasn't on the podcast on Tuesday because actually my sister-in-law Nidhi, like Zoff mentioned, who's been an integral part of our journey at the FPL Wire, got married to Rahul, who's also an avid pod watcher as well. So congratulations to the both of them. It was an amazing wedding. I can't tell you guys how much fun I had meeting all of Rahul's friends. Quite a lot of FPL playing people as well, which was nice. And I've slept for the total of 10 hours in those 3 nights during the wedding, but managed to get some rest, and I've clocked in a fair amount of FPL in the last few hours and today because I'm flying out again tonight. Rima, my wife's birthday is on Tuesday, so we're going to take a vacation, my first of the year, just go to the hills, slow down, and I will not be as busy as I was during the wedding, so we'll be up to speed with content, etc. as well. I don't think I'm going to be on the pod on Tuesday, but there will be a team selection video coming next week as well. Right. Enough of personal chat. I just thought I'd update you guys. Let's get into the chip strategy and what the assistant manager chip means first. Like I said, I'm not going to break down what the chip is and the points, etc. If you are looking for that, check out the first 15 minutes of process video. He does an excellent job of that. But just in general, some early thoughts. I barely spend any time on Twitter, but I see people having good thoughts about it, bad thoughts about it. I'm somebody who believes in not worrying about the cards you are dealt, because that's uncontrollable. You can't control the uncontrollables, but now we've been dealt these cards, and it's about how we play these cards, and the rest is not in our control. So why bother expending our energy there? But the interesting thing that I thought was the idea at its crux isn't the best idea, isn't the worst idea, but I felt like if they kept the money aspect out of it, and if they kept the free transfer aspect out of it, and if they kept the slot, maybe they could include the manager using one out of the 3 team slots, that's fine, but keep your free transfers out of it, keep the money aspect out of it, and I think it just becomes a lot less complex for the casual, a lot less complex for everybody involved, because nobody really wants to play a very complex game, right? So that was my one little problem with the chip. And yes, it will favor us, that is the engaged manager, etc. as well, but I just felt like this is a game for everybody, and something like this maybe adds too many layers and way too much complication. That said, people will come up with the theories, and we'll see where we are at the end of it. Just some early thoughts on chip strategy. This is something Neil wrote out in his article in Fantasy Football Scout, which quite appealed to me, in the sense that you can play a wildcard in game week 30, and then between 31 to 33 you can play your assistant manager chip, because the doubles are in game week 33. There's a blank in 34 that's likely, so you can, free hit in game week 34. And in game week 36, you bench boost, catching the doubles. What I like about this is that after the wildcard, you can leave 1.5 million in the bank, and you can use that 1.5 million to boost your bench before the 36 bench boost, So I quite like that as a strategy. Or you can do vice versa and start with a heavy bench, then remove money out of the bench and use that in the assistant managership as well. A lot of that is going to depend on what kind of blanks and doubles show up. Whether we have there's a potential for a Liverpool double game week in game week 24, which might be Bournemouth away and Everton away, which isn't as nice as a double game week that would have been in game week 25, because Liverpool would then have Wolves at home and Everton away, which would be much more attractive from a team captaincy point of view, from a triple captaincy point of view, from a assistant manager point of view. But it is what it is. And you don't always have to play this chip. My first thought was that, okay, we need to find the Glasner of last year, and the Glasner of last year could well be the Glasner of this year, or if Amarin manages to get something out of the Manchester United lot, something like that, or if Newcastle keeps slipping down the table and then have an uptick in performance. I think there's a lot of teams in the 10 to 16 range that are capable of finding some form, and there's potential to chase high upside points. And Pras rightly said that this is probably the most important high ceiling chip that we have this season, where you could earn an upwards of 30, 40, 50 plus points. You could earn up to 60, 70 points if you were lucky, right? There's potential case for swing, and it comes down to your judgment of team performance more so than picking a player. So that's an additional layer of thinking as well. If you're somebody that's probably defending a lead, playing safe on someone like an Arnie slot and going for the median 30, 40, 50 points isn't a bad idea as well. But, we'll see where we are. There needs to be a team that is looking like there could be an uptick, and that needs to converge with their opponents maybe being focused on a UEFA Champions League semi-final or quarter-final. And I wonder if we'll get like the perfect storm there where we can take on a team or two. But again, we won't know about this until the blanks and doubles are in front of us. And that makes me think that I'm more inclined to use a triple captaincy chip in the Liverpool double that might come in 24. Mo Salah's in his best form. Just get it out of the way so that you are having less to think about during chip season, which is game week 32, 38. You can also use it on relegation teams or teams that are focused or just about finding an uptick in form, because you get an extra 10 points for a win that's placed 5 or above you. And relegation teams are capable of beating teams that are between, let's say, 8 to 14, right? You need to find those kind of teams as well. So that's potential opportunity for a chip. And those are some early thoughts. I don't want to delve too much into this. So that's just some early thoughts for you guys. I highly, again, recommend watching Pras's team selection video where he focuses on what the chip is for the first 15 minutes. So I'm just doing the latter part of it in terms of my thoughts, because somebody from the wire has already covered that. Right, let's talk about my team and my points. I got 61 points, which isn't too bad. I mean, it was all right until the last game of the week where Palmer absolutely finally decided to get a couple of penalties thanks to a couple of brain farts from the Spurs defenders as well. That said, it's fine. We lost. I had Haaland captain. He got 7 points. Palmer got 18 points, or lost 11 points on the captaincy, which I'm okay with, because in general, the team is on an upward positive trajectory. Again, I am feeling a little bit of bad variance on the side, because I don't think many people or very few people would have captained Palmer. We don't know what Salah would have done, but I thought it was a good opportunity to take on Salah with the captaincy. And not many people would have had the Palmer 18-pointer, right? But it is what it is. I didn't sell Boomer, which worked out in my favor, got 13 points there. But outside of that, it's a ton of blanks. That's it. Game week 12, I was sitting at 2.6 million. It's game week 15. Now I'm sitting at 1.4 million, 1.49 million. That's 1.5 million. And it's not too bad. Things have been on an upward trajectory since game week 12, and long may it continue. The next target that we have in our mind is the 1 million mark, which is 19 points ahead. And the boys mentioned that I need little constraint in terms of what moves I can. So I think I need to force the issue, which I plan to do this week. I have 3 free transfers, and I think I'm going to use all 3 of them. Right. So, what is the landscape in front of us, and what am I thinking? If you don't already know, I am an Erling Haaland owner. Now, what I like about Erling being an Erling Haaland owner is his ownership is low. Nobody that doesn't have him is going to get him because it's too difficult because people are spreading their funds. They're going to Trent, they're going to Isak, they're going to a mid-priced midfielder. So it's going to be very difficult for people to get Erling Haaland. And I think my money period, if I have to make points, is between game week 18 to 20, where he has Everton home, Leicester away, West Ham home. And like the boys mentioned, West Ham at home is game week 20, where there's no strong captain except Ollie Watkins. There's just no Palmer's playing Palace away. Palace are on uptick in form. Isak plays Spurs, decent captaincy option. Salah plays United at home, a good captaincy option, but I'm very willing to take on uh, Salah with United at home. This feels. He's ruined me multiple times when he's mass captained against United, and I've had the alternate captaincy option, but I think I take it on. And it's not been too bad because the primary captaincy options that people have are Salah and Palmer. I have those players. So I'm almost like this. This is what a part of my thinking is in terms of I'm insured in terms of having at least 50% of the ownership of the mass captaincy because not many people are going to captain Saka in many of the fixtures. Even in game week 18, where Saka has Ipswich at home, people are going to be captaining Salah, who's got Leicester at home, or Palmer, who's got Fulham at home. It's just because people perceive Salah and Palmer to be more reliable. So I'm okay taking on Saka at the moment. But, there was a thinking in my head, and that's why I have a certain Isak on my thumbnail because I've thought about it. I could sell Haaland this week, but I think I have to play FPL and chance and I have to back the upward trajectory. But what am I compensating and what am I losing out on when I am taking on the template? I'm taking on Saka primarily, who's got an excellent run now. Everton home, Palace away, Ipswich home, Brentford away, Brighton away, Spurs at home, Villa at home, Wolves away. Great run of fixtures right until 23. But I've got a triple Arsenal defense at the moment. So I'm okay with that. I'm okay taking letting my triple Arsenal defense take on Trent at the moment. Trent at the moment, if people are entering Trent or going into Trent right now, they're going into it with Fulham and Spurs as the next two. I'm happy. I think the clean sheet odds for Everton and Palace is better than Fulham and Spurs. So I'm happy taking on Trent with my triple Arsenal defense. What else am I taking on? I'm taking on Saka, obviously. But Haaland versus Saka isn't as bad, right? I'll take my chances there. And then I'm taking on a certain Isak. Now, Isak's got a great entry point right now. He's got Leicester at home, Ipswich away. Then he's got tough fixtures which aren't that tough. I think Aston Villa suits a pacey striker like Isak. So he's got Aston Villa, United away, Spurs at home, Wolves at home, Bournemouth, Spurs away, Wolves at home, Bournemouth at home, Southampton away, Fulham. These are just great fixtures. He's a set and forget pick until 24. And the thinking behind me is if I want to stick to Haaland, if I take on both Isak and Saka and take on Trent, it's too much. It's too much for whatever team I can conjure up with to take on that much. I think I need to get one of these guys into my team. And I obviously can't get Saka because I have triple Arsenal. So my idea was that I need to get at least one of Trent or Isak in my team. And given my team composition and given the upside that I see with a pick like Isak, especially because a certain Callum Wilson is out for a couple of weeks now, I just thought I had to get Isak into my team. Just and also when it comes to the decision, right? Once you see what kind of transfers I'm looking at, I'm going to have a very thin squad. Now, once I have a very thin squad, I can't be doing that forever. It's all right for a short-term play, especially going into the end of the year fixture crunch. So, in my head, I'm going to give the Haaland experiment. There's going to be 2 points where I'm going to reconsider it. After 20, so after 20, once Haaland is done playing West Ham at home, I reconsider what's up with City and Haaland. And whether I want to give Haaland 2 more weeks against Brentford away and Ipswich away, which tend to be games in which a lot of goals are there. We've seen what's happening at the GTEC Stadium, right? Tons of goals. Isak could have had a brace or 3 goals again. So I think about whether I sell Haaland game week 21 or I think about selling him in game week 23. Now, why I'm inclined to keep him and chance my arm is I'm 1.5 million, I'm chasing. And I like chasing. I like it. I'm not afraid to fail. When we had that point of difference 3 weeks ago, where Zoff and I converged in terms of what we did with our premium, I decided I made my bet that I want to give Haaland a chance. And I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to give it a shot, and I'll see what I want to do in Gameweek 21 and what I want to do in Gameweek 23. Why I'm okay giving it a shot is a few things that come up which I think are sort of bubbling up. That KDB's now played three games in a row, and he's got 290s and 186 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. I like that. It looks like he's over his fitness issues. Touchwood, please. Variance be on my side here. Foden was back in training, and all their attackers are back in training. Grealish is back, Doku is back, Savio is back, Bernardo is back. So I reckon in the easier games, he continues playing Grealish and KDB as a 2-8s, which I think is great from a creative point set. So I think the games which are coming, Everton, Leicester, West Ham, there's going to be enough creative players on the field that Haaland could explode. He could benefit from that. And number two, Kovacic was back in the squad as well yesterday. I felt like he's just way better than them playing the pivot of Gundogan and him playing the pivot of Gundogan and Bernardo Silva, right? So I like this. That's why I want to chance my arm with Erling Haaland, because I think all their attackers are fit. So now we're at a situation where, yeah, they're screwed in defense because Ake has issues and Akanji might have issues, but Kovacic is back. Foden's back in training. De Bruyne has minutes behind him. De Bruyne in the last 2 weeks is creating a big chance a game for Haaland at the moment, and I think this is going to get better as he gets fitter, etc. as well. So yeah, fingers crossed. Just looking at some data from the last 6 game weeks, right, as a sort of a sanity check and what the process is behind my decision making as well. Watkins has actually had a lot of XGI in the last 6 games. He's got 4.91 XGI and he's got only 3 goals pluses. So negative 1.91 delta. Bad variance to Watkins owners. I feel bad for you guys, but he's got penalties in his favor now. Erling, and the guy got benched against Southampton, which was the money game. Even when he came on, he could have had a return or two easy. Erling Haaland, again, topping the XG numbers, amongst forwards. 4.59 XGI in the last 6 games, but just 3 goals plus assists. Again, delta 1.6 negative. So I've just had a continuous overbearing run of negative delta XGI. I mean, look at Evan Nielsen as well. He's there in the top 5. He's only got 2 returns. Again, negative 1.3 XGI. But the thing is, him and Isak have pretty much the same XGI. Isak has 6 returns to show for it. Evan Nielsen has 2 returns to show for it. And the reason behind that is just because Isak is just the better striker. And that's why I need to get him. Defenders, somebody who needs to be on our watch list is a certain Mr. Daniel Munoz, who's at 2.24 XGI. He's got 3 goals and assists. And after the next 3 weeks, it's a great entry point for Munoz. So that's something we keep an eye on. Again, in terms of just... I mean, I've had an uptick in performance where I've shifted from 2.6 million to 1.5 million. But because Califury is injured, Timbers had to shift on the left-hand side. He's just not as attacking on the left-hand side as he was on the right-hand side. So that's that. Data for the last 6 weeks, Bournemouth have actually topped the league for XGI. Chelsea are doing really well. That's 15 XGI in 6 games. They're finishing well. So they're doing above 2.5 goals a game, which is great. Villa are up there. Liverpool are up there. Arsenal are up there. So, the teams that you're expecting to do well are doing well. Brighton are up there. Brentford are up there. City are up there. Newcastle are not up there because they've been a bit hot and cold, but Isak is up there because he tends to hawk the underlying data in that team. And teams that are conceding are the best defense in the league. Again, Arsenal are up there. Interestingly, I don't perceive Bournemouth as a good defense, but they are top 3 in the league for XGC in the last 6 games, which is quite interesting. And Mikolenko is there as well at 5.78. Interesting, because this is revolving around the decision that I have, which I'll talk about. United have been surprisingly decent. Newcastle have been decent. Liverpool have been decent. But you can see the difference here. Liverpool are still... And they had a poor midweek as well in terms of conceding chances. Arsenal are just the better defense than Liverpool, which is why I'm taking Trent on with my triple Arsenal defense at the moment. Forest are up there. Fulham are up there. Anderson is now 4.2 million. Going to be a ridiculously good enabler next week onwards if he's fit. because Marco Silva mentioned that he's definitely not fit this week. Palace are up there. Palace are an upward trajectory. It's visibly seen. And I saw the Palace versus City game. Munoz was in the last line of attack multiple occasions. So he's the Munoz what we were buying into, what we thought we were buying into in the first week of the season. But now they've had a stable back five. They've had a stable back six almost for the past 7-8 games. And all the managers are talking. Glasson mentioned that at least 7 or 8 times. It's how McKenna also mentioned when he played Crystal Palace, how the back five is very solid. So Palace are on an upward trajectory, especially with defensive stability. And Brighton and Villa there. Just taking a stock of some defensive and forward data. And what are my potential pathways? What am I going to need in the future? What am I looking at? What am I planning? I sell Haaland in either 21 or 23, which is what we discussed. And I said the big dogs are back. KDB, Kovacic, Foden, Grealish, Doku, Savio are all fit, which I think just helps their goal scoring potential. I can't take on Isak and Saka. Isak run there, and what's enabling it is a certain Enzo Fernandez for me. And the first thing that I did when I came back from the wedding yesterday was I was in Zoff's DMs. I saw the FPL Wire pod that they did, and they gave me confirmation bias about Enzo being a good pick. Now, if you know Zoff, you know that he's as pessimistic as they come when it comes to Chelsea assets. So if Zoff is giving you the green tick on a pick like Enzo, I'm going to go for it. And it just enables everything for me. And he's a set and forget option for a long time, especially until the time I distribute my top heavy structure and release some funds to improve the midfield that I'm going to get. So I'm going to play him for Brentford, Everton, Fulham, Ipswich, Palace, Bournemouth, Wolves, City, West Ham. He's fine for a long time. And the thing is, he's got 490 minutes in a row, so expected minutes look decent for a while. And he's on set pieces. He's 6th for expected assists in the last 6 game weeks, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So at 5 million, it's a gift. The only other pick that I liked in that price bracket was Buonanotte, but the fixtures are looking tough. Newcastle away, Liverpool away, and City and Villa in the next 5, so it's not looking good there. And there's an interesting pick because Tavernier is out for a while. So Utara, who's a 5 million midfielder, might play as well. And he's got some decent fixtures. West Ham home, United away, Palace home, Fulham away, Everton home. That's it. I just think Enzo's a gift on set pieces. I'm going to go there. I'm going to convert my Arsenal defense into Trent and Munoz after 18, and Colville's an option as well. Because Arsenal, I think at the moment, have 3 good clean sheet fixtures. If not 3, 2 for sure. Everton at home and Ipswich at home are good clean sheet fixtures. And then they have a decent chance. Arsenal have a decent chance of cleaning against anybody, but Palace away. The next 3 are fine for my triple Arsenal defense, provided Gabriel's fit. After that, they're not screaming clean sheet fixtures. Brentford away, Brighton away, Spurs home, Villa home. So I plan to redistribute funds from Raya or an Arsenal defender, spread it out, get the likes of Trent and Munoz into my team. If I can't afford Munoz, if I can't afford Trent, I go cheaper with somebody like Colville, because we spoke about the Chelsea options here. Thin squad, but I'm going to deal with this thin squad for a short while, because in 21 or 23, we might look at selling Haaland. Now, this is the current plan at the moment. How do I afford it? So if you saw my team, in the place of Enzo Fernandez, I had Bumo. So I've sold Bumo for Enzo. And I've sold Evan Nielsen for Isak. Now you're saying, why are you selling Evan Nielsen before West Ham at home? Because Bournemouth are putting such great attacking numbers up and all of that. But I'm just not stupid. Like, taking on Isak and Saka and Trent is just too much. And Isak's just an incredible pick. And he's a better striker, skill for skill, when it comes to Isak versus Evan Nielsen. And I think Leicester at home is a better fixture than West Ham at home. I think both are great fixtures, but I just think Isak's got higher upside because he's bloody Isak. He's got brace hat-trick potential. He's a good captaincy option this week as well. So I'm going to do Boomer. Because why am I selling Boomer? Because the fixtures are bad. I take the points and I run them because I want Isak more than I want Boomer. He's got Chelsea away, Forest home, Brighton away, Arsenal home, Southampton, City, Liverpool. Yeah, man. I think I'll sell it. Tough fixtures, not tough fixtures. I think there are better picks at that price. I'm done with the Boomer experiment. I'm going to get Enzo in place and I'm going to get Isak. But to do this, and I have 3 free transfers, I need to remove 0.3 million from my defense. So what are my potential pathways for removing 0.3 million from my defense? I can either sell Raya for a Sanchez, but Sanchez is on 4 yellow cards. And Zoff is like, Sanchez is a trap, bro. So I am not going to sell Raya. And I think the points are there on the table for these the triple Arsenal defense, and I hope they come through in the next 3 weeks, and then I see what I want to do. So then I either do Mikolenko down to O'Shea or Burgess, which gives me two Ipswich defenders, God bless me, and Ed Nouri. But Ed Nouri is playable for the next 2 weeks. He's playable for Ipswich at home and he's playable Leicester away. After that, I need to bin Ed Nouri, and the likes of Munoz need to come into my thinking, or Colville need to come into my thinking. Now, so I do Mikolenko down to what do you call O'Shea or Burgess, and play my triple Arsenal defense and 8 Nouri as my defense, and that's that. Thin squad, deal with it. Or I do 8 Nouri down to a 4.3 million defender, and the 4.3 million defender that Zoff pointed out to me is Hudson, who's got two tough away games, United away and Fulham away. I don't expect clean sheets for Bournemouth there, but he's got a half decent chance of cleaning against West Ham at home, Crystal Palace at home, and Everton at home. Like Crystal Palace at home, I don't think is a straightforward clean sheet fixture, but West Ham and Everton, he's got a decent chance of cleaning his fixtures. So he gives me some wiggle room for the next 5. That said, I then somehow lose on the money I want for Munoz and Trent. Because I want to, when I sell Aitnouri, I want to convert him into either Colville, who I think is a better long-term pick than Hodgson, or I hope I pronounce his name right. If not, he's a 4.3 million gloves wearing, 6.5 feet tall, big hitter, big threat on set piece defender. So he's got a decent threat on set pieces. In fact, Iraola mentioned that he's averaging like 1 or 2 big chances a game when he plays, and he's just got a decent shout at returns at both. So if you're looking for a cheap asset, because Zabernay or Senesi is out for a while. For months, he underwent surgery as well. So that's a 4.3 defender shout there. Euro is also a 4.3 defender, but I just feel like Hodgson is more nailed there because we don't know what Amorin is up to with the experimentation is done. Earlier, I was very set on doing Mikolenko down to Greece because then eventually I can convert Aitnouri to Colville, or I can convert Aitnouri to Munoz. I'll need to find money for that, which I'll figure out later, right? But Mikolenko now probably has a double in Gameweek 24, and that double for Mikolenko in Gameweek 24 is going to read Leicester at home and Liverpool at home. Leicester at home is a good clean sheet fixture. I said Mikolenko is just not very playable in any of these games except Forest at home, in my opinion. So I'm like, am I compromising too much to hold Mikolenko for one extra game in Gameweek 24 and leaving points on the table? Because I get Hodgson, but I think Munoz and Aitnouri are better picks. I can get Munoz and Aitnouri anyway once I sell my Arsenal defenders and get Trent, etc. after Game Week 18, because I'll give my Arsenal defenders until Ipswich at home and then enter Trent. So that's the worry. So I have to contemplate whether I'm going to do Mikolenko down to a 4.0 million Ipswich defender, or whether I'm going to do Aitnouri down to Hudson. At the moment, I'm leaning towards playing Aitnouri. If he gets a yellow this week, I get in Colville next week, or sell somebody to fund what do you call Munoz. But I think I'll get Colville next week. He's just very stable for a while as a pick. That's my thoughts. I am very likely making these moves. Yes, thin squad. It involves Perma playing Enzo and Rogers and Dibbling as my 8th attacker. But, I've got Palmer, Salah, Isak, Haaland, Pedro, and triple Arsenal defense. That's going to be the base of my team. And I'm basically taking on the better fringe picks of the template. So I want to take it on, and we'll see where we are. Because my team is always known as bad team on paper. It looks a little imbalanced on paper, but I think there's potential if I get things right. If you are watching this video, and I'll be probably making the move later tonight, I have a 3 a.m. flight. Let me know what your best pathway is for me. Do you think Mikolenko down to 4.0 or Aitnouri to Hudson helps more? I'll contemplate. At the moment, I think I'll go Mikolenko down because there are 9 more game weeks to Game Week 24, and I can get him back at that point or whatever. We'll figure life out. Okay, a certain captaincy, yes, because it's been an important point of discussion. Liverpool have projected 2.55 goals, and yes, Bassey's out, and Addison's not been playing for a while. And Chelsea have projected 2.75 goals, but they will be playing differently against Chelsea. Brentford will be playing differently against Chelsea than they did against Newcastle. Newcastle against Brentford was a pinball up and down game. Now the thought is that will Brentford park, etc. And my instinct is, even though Fulham are without their first choice centre backs, I just think they're the Joe Pesci, right, of the league. I would be more surprised if Liverpool beat Fulham 4-0 compared to whether Chelsea beat Brentford 4-0. I just think there's a higher ceiling with a certain Palmer, which is why I'm captaining Cole Palmer in all likelihood. I think there's potential to captain somebody like Isak as well because they've also got 2.6 goals against New Leicester, especially because NTT and Sumari are going to be missing. But midfielders have more pans, and I'm going to save the forward captaincy for a certain Norwegian robot who's my differential now in some of the next few weeks. And that's where we are. Clean sheet odds are good for my triple Arsenal defense. Clean sheet odds are good for Ait Nouri. They're pretty decent for Liverpool as well. So yeah, let me know. Clean sheet odds for Hudson. Yeah, no? Hudson's got 29% clean sheet odds compared to Ait Nouri's 29%. That's interesting. I see. If you think there's a problem in my thinking in terms of where I should remove that 0.3, no, I'm going to hold on to Haaland. I made up my mind. I'm going to do that. I'm not going to do Trent and Saka and Isak in for Rogers or Bumo and striker and a cheap defender. No, I want to hold Haaland. That's the way I'm going to play this game. All right, a quick shout out to Sleeper who, unless, obviously press conference, etc., give us an issue. Let me see if there's any news on Gabriel because the press conference is happening literally right about now. Has there been any news? Nope. No news at the moment in the press conference. If Gabriel is out, then I probably just do Gabriel to Colby. But you want to hold Gabriel on for a long time. Quick shout out to Sleeper. It's an easy game. We need to pick whether Arsenal versus Everton is going to be an Arsenal win or an Everton win or a draw. And I think there are some easy games out here. The tough to call games, actually. I won't be surprised if Ipswich probably get a draw against Wolves. The Forest versus Villa game is very difficult to call as well. I think I fancy a draw there as well. I tend to lean towards a draw when there's a difficult game. I don't know why. Brighton versus Palace is going to be a crazy game. It's a derby. There's always mad amount of goals. City versus United, I expect City to win. I'm a United fan. I'm not going to say anything else. Spurs versus Southampton is interesting because actually Spurs are very, very open at the moment. Yeah, let me know whether I should start Rogers or Dibbling because Baker tells me that Spurs are in a very, very, very bad moment at the moment. So we'll see about that. Selling Evan Nielsen is scary against West Ham, but it's scarier to not own Isak. So that's where I am. And you should download the Sleeper app because you just need to pick the results and you get a chance to win a Premier League jersey of your choice. If you're the highest points at the end of the month, if you're at the highest points at the end of the month and at the top 3 in our Discord league, then you get a Premier League kit of your choice as well. So just download the Sleeper app and join our Pick'em League. And you can join our Discord as well. And if Pras and Zoff haven't already told you, we have a target to reach 35,000 subscribers by Christmas. We're at 34,350 if I'm not mistaken. We'd really appreciate your gratitude and your love. If you could get us there before Christmas, we'd really, really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will not be seeing you on the pod on Tuesday, but there will be a team selection video next week as well. Let me know which move you think I should make. Miko down to 4.0 or Ait Nouri down to 4.3 or anything else that you can come up with your creative head. Take care, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye-bye.